Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel, CZ.fit here, and I hope you guys are all doing well. So in today's video, just wanted to cover a few things that have really helped me in the past few weeks, and also, you know, when first lockdown hit and all the times where I mentally have just kind of been in a rut. So my top tips in resetting yourself, getting your mindset back in place, getting your mental health back in place, and also just getting you back into the routine of things, like, you know, waking up, feeling energized, feeling ready to attack your day. Because I know that it's so easy to do that when you are in the swing of things, but then life happens, you know, some things fall out of place, external factors, a lot of different reasons why we sometimes just kind of fall off track, and we suddenly find it difficult to wake up in the mornings, we find it difficult to get out of bed. The simple tasks that we usually do without effort becomes like humongous tasks, right? And sometimes it's hard to kind of pick yourself back up. So gonna go over, you know, my top tips that really do help me, and these are things that I do implement in the morning, just because I really do believe that the way you start your mornings and your day, well, no, more so the way you start your day really does impact your mood and how you kind of attack the rest of your day. So I really do think, you know, that first hour is honestly the key to having a successful day. Not to say that if you don't have the best morning, you're doomed, but you know, I think having a good morning routine and having some things that you always go to that you know is going to pick you up and get your mental health and mindset in the right place is going to be a game changer here. So before we get started, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe, because it really does support my channel. It helps my channel grow. You guys engaging, leaving comments, all of that, it really does support me. And then without further ado, let's get started. So my tip number one, something that really has helped me a lot, is writing out my morning gratitude. So I know that this can sometimes sound like very wishy-washy woohoo stuff, right? Like, oh, write out your gratitudes, like manifestation, all of that stuff. Honestly, I used to be that person, and I would be like, really? I'm gonna waste my time writing down things I'm grateful for every morning? Like, don't need to do that. I'm already grateful. But I think the act of forcing yourself to just sit down and actually think about the thoughts and then put it on paper really makes a big difference. And typically I will write down like 3 to 5 things that I'm really grateful for. And what I have found is when I first started doing this, you know, maybe like 3 days in, I started getting a bit stuck. I was like, I feel like I've written down most things I'm grateful for. I'm not really sure what else to write. I'm sitting there like, oh, there must be more. Like, do I not have that much going for me in my life? Like, what am I thankful for? Why have I run out? But I realized it's because this is why I think it's important to do gratitude lists, because it forces you to think about all the small things that you wouldn't even consider something that you need to write down that you're thankful for because you take for granted. And I think it's those small things that actually make a world of difference, because it reminds you just to be happy for all the small things that perhaps you don't realize you're actually really lucky to have. It's stuff that becomes a standard for you, you know, things that we don't even double think, because, you know, most of us, if you're on YouTube, if you're lucky enough to have internet and a working phone or computer to be watching this, you know, we are in a very lucky situation where we do have pretty much all the means we need to survive given to us. So we kind of don't realize that there are a lot of people out there who don't even have access to YouTube, don't have access to technology, to education, to the basic standards of living, to food, water, and all of that. So simple things as writing down. I'm really grateful for my bed. I'm really grateful for, you know, the people in my life. I'm grateful to have electricity. I'm grateful to have, you know, my books. I'm grateful to have my education. I'm grateful to have water, fresh water to drink. I'm grateful to have food in my fridge. If you've been for grocery shop, if you're anything like me, I leave things to the last minute and I'm hungry and I go to the pantry and there's no food. But regardless of that, you know, small things that I think we take for granted because we've just been kind of given to it at birth, right? So I think that is definitely something that really has helped me, essentially when I am in a bit of a rut and when I'm looking at all these things that I want to achieve, that I want more of in my life. You know, just stopping and being like, okay, actually I have everything I really do need already. I actually just need to be kind of more present in the moment and just thankful for all these small things and stop demanding more and more. Really does just put things into perspective, and anything that's a massive challenge to you, anything that perhaps you want to achieve that you're not achieving yet, it puts things into perspective and you realize, yes, that is something I want, but I am also very, very lucky to be where I am already. So I'm going to keep working for that and I'm going to keep trying to achieve those things, but I'm also going to accept where I am right now and also be very, very content with where I am right now. I think that is really, really important. Now, tip number 2, and the second thing that I have been doing in my mornings, is reading. Okay, so 10 to 15 minutes at least of reading a personal development or self-development mindset book. Honestly, again, sets you up for the day. You get in some really insightful words written by, you know, amazing thinkers out there, and essentially those words are going to carry you through the day, like especially if you actively read it, so you don't just passively sit there and just count the pages and you're like, oh, 10 to 15 minutes done, cool, tick off. But you're actually in the book, like you absorb yourself in the book, you look at those words, you highlight it, it's almost like studying, like you study the book. Okay, you highlight it, you write down sentences that have resonated with you. So I also have a journal where I will then write down things that have really kind of hit me, you know, I'm like, oh shit, like that really stuck to me, like this is something that I needed to hear. And then I will write down my own thoughts. So, you know, this is what was said in the book, this is kind of my take of it, how can I apply this into my day-to-day to make myself a better person and to make me cultivate better habits, cultivate more discipline, more willpower, more mental resilience, all those things. So yeah, 10 to 15 minutes of reading in the mornings. One thing I want to say is don't overwhelm yourself by going into it being like, I have to get this done every single morning and I have to be consistent, because that's happened to me. Even with, you know, gratitude listing, reading, I was like, I have to do this every single morning, like this is my morning routine. And the thing is though, like, I think you end up actually not sticking to it because it's so overwhelming. Like one day you miss your gratitude listing or one day you don't read your book and you're like, oh, I give up on this morning routine, it's too hard. I think don't give yourself that pressure of being like, I have to do this every day, but rather it's just something that's on your desk, and in the morning when you have time you really try to go for it. And you know, maybe one day if you really run out of time or you have other obligations, it's not something where it's like, oh crap, like, you know, I've fallen off track again, I'm not going to get back to it. But just, you know, what I would say is with gratitude listing, what I do is like 3 to 4 times a week rather than every day, because sometimes if I try to do it every day, I actually become more mentally stressed out because I'm like, oh my god, I have to find something I'm grateful for every single day and I have to write something super creative and different. So 3 to 4 times a week, that's what I found has really helped for me. With reading, I'm trying to make it a bit more consistent, so daily. But again, like if I have 1 to 2 days where I just don't do it because maybe I wake up a little bit later, or you know, it's not the end of the world. So don't put that overwhelming pressure on yourself to be like, oh my gosh, everyone says to read 10 to 15 minutes of a, you know, self-help book in the mornings, I need to do that as well. And then maybe you do 4 days and you're like, holy crap, like why can't I keep up with this? You know, just I think any sort of reading, you know, 1 day or 2 days is better than no days. So go about it that way and then slowly build up the habit. And then once it becomes a habit, it just becomes your routine, right? Like the first thing you want to do in the morning is read, and you always make time for it. But at the start, definitely give yourself time to actually implement that into your mornings, because it's not going to be a 0 to 100 where, you know, you go from lying in bed for extra 10 minutes doing nothing to suddenly getting up and being able to read every morning. Now, on the topic of like journaling things down, I also keep my journal for my thoughts, something that again I have found really beneficial, especially when your mental health is kind of rocky and you have a lot of things going in your head. Maybe it's like, I know something's coming up and you're anxious about it, maybe things are changing in your life, or perhaps you're just going through what humans go through, a period that's a bit rougher mentally, you're just not really, you know, feeling it. What I have found is journaling does really help, because it gets those thoughts and the anxiety and the things that are kind of upsetting you out of your head and onto a piece of paper. It's kind of like just dumping away your stress onto a piece of paper. So this is the journal that I keep. Holding it the wrong way here. It is kind of stained with coffee, but that is how you know that I've been actually writing in this in the mornings with my coffee, because I have completely drenched it in black coffee one day. But I would say it makes it look pretty aesthetic. Again, what I found has really worked for me, and I think what a lot of us try to do is we go, oh, I want to try journal every day, write in my diary every day, and that was me as well. Like I bought so many different journals every single year. Every pretty journal I saw, I was like, this will be the journal. This will be the year where I start writing my diary and I keep note of everything and I, you know, document everything, and it just never turns out that way. Like if you're anything like me, again, you probably wrote in it for like 3 to 4 days and then left it on the side of your desk, and then it starts collecting dust, and 3-4 months later you're like, oh, my journal that I wrote 2 pages in and then kind of forgot about. So I think again, it's because we set these ambitious kind of goals where it's like, oh, I have to write in it every day. And realistically, do you really have that much to update your journal and your diary every single day? Probably not. Like if you were to write in it every day, it would probably be like, hey, dear diary, I woke up today, I have work today, I'm gonna go work out, and then yeah, I'm gonna call it a day. And then maybe here and there be like, oh, I'm seeing XYZ, and then I'm going to go for dinner, and then yeah, like really not that much happens from a day-to-day basis. So what I have found again that has helped me is just taking away the overwhelm, to be like, Chen Yang, this is your morning routine, you have to, you know, write in your diary every morning, to being like, okay, I'm gonna try to write in it like 3 to 4 times a week, only when I do have things that I want to note down, any thoughts, any ideas, any sort of, you know, worries or whatever's in my head, I'm gonna write it down when I do have something to write down. But if I'm just having like a, you know, good day and everything's just going smoothly, there's nothing too much to document, I'm not gonna force myself to be like, dear diary, try to force something out of it. My life is very eventful. Like no, if nothing's happened and everything's going smoothly and it's just one of those days, it's just going to be one of those days. So I think definitely journaling down your thoughts helps immensely with your mental health and your mindset. But the key is consistency, which comes down to actually setting out a realistic amount of times where you want to kind of go to your journal and just brain dump things down. Also, I've just realized, can you see the shining lights in the background of this? That's the shard. How cute is that? It's like all Christmassy. I think those are Christmas colors. It's red, but it has purple. It's fine. Red is Christmassy, right? But yeah, look how cute that is. Anyways, so yeah, that is kind of what I've been doing in the mornings, and I typically will do my journaling with my reading. So I'll have my book, I'll have my journal, and I'll write basically what I kind of find resonating with me from my book into my journal as well, because I like having everything in one place. I don't see the point of having a separate journal to write down my thoughts and then a separate notes book to write down what I found interesting for my books. I think it's nice just keeping it in one place. And then with that, usually I will have, you know, my morning coffee, because I think again it's just nice having something warm to drink on whilst you know, do your reading and all of that, or a protein hot chocolate which is made with Blessed protein. So they do have a really nice new flavor, which is the chocolate milk flavor, and honestly it tastes like it just it tastes so creamy that you would be surprised that it's a protein shake. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, you kind of wonder, like, is this protein? Not sure, because honestly it just tastes like you've taken cacao powder and melted like a slab of creamy chocolate into milk. Honestly, it is that good. So that's kind of what I'll do in my mornings, just to kind of set me up for success and just to make me feel like, I don't know, like bring me out of a gutter when my mental health is a bit like Now the next thing, so after all of this is kind of like in chronological order, guys. So first off, you know, doing the morning gratitude, then doing the reading, then doing the journaling. That's kind of like how things go, and then having the coffee or the hot chocolate. And then the final thing is getting out of the house and just getting in some fresh air, okay? Like going outside, going for a quick walk. It doesn't have to be long, 5 to 10 minute walk even, just to get out, move your body. I think honestly that just, it really does set you up for the day. Going out, moving your body first thing in the morning, getting that hit of fresh air, seeing the streets a bit quieter. It's honestly like, it really does help you just get in a really good mental space. And if you have that as a part of your morning routine, what happens is that you essentially stay accountable to staying up, to actually getting up on time, because you're like, oh, I need to have enough time to go out for a quick walk, you know, grab my coffee, do my reading before I start work. And by giving yourself that just like 1 hour before, you know, your workday starts, to just be by yourself, to sit with your thoughts, to have a coffee, have a hot chocolate, and just sit there peacefully, it honestly will change how you go about your day. It's so easy for us to, you know, lie that extra 10 to 15 minutes in bed, and then before we know it, work's starting, our managers are calling, it's a really busy, hectic day, and hours later, you're still stuck in front of a, you know, computer screen. You haven't even gone outside to actually just look at the weather, to feel the, you know, fresh air. And then it's what, 6-7 p.m. and it's dark. So it is really important just to kind of keep that morning time as a really sacred time for yourself. Be selfish with it, like make sure you do give yourself that time, because it really is a game changer, both for your productivity, your mindset, but also your mental health. So I hope that these tips were helpful, and honestly these are things that you can literally implement, super simple things that you can implement from tomorrow morning, that I honestly think will completely change how you're feeling, how you start your mornings, how you attack your days. And then, you know, as you build up this habit, I honestly think it is going to transform your mental health, and yeah, like how much you get out of life, because I think it's so easy for us to get carried away in the day-to-day. You know, we all live very stressful and hectic lives. We're doing so much, which is freaking awesome, right? But that also means that sometimes we do neglect just time for ourselves to do nothing, just to sit down, to, you know, go through our own thoughts, how we're feeling, to really put down time for our personal development, developing our own mindsets, you know, our internal beliefs, the words that we use to speak to ourselves. I think we never really sit down to think about them, and to really register it. So it is very easy to sometimes be so caught up in the hustle of things, and then we suddenly find ourselves randomly waking up one day with utterly bad mental health, and, you know, just feeling like, you know, you don't even know how you got yourself there. So I do think that implementing these things in your morning routine really is going to help. I mean, like, you don't have to do it in your mornings, but I just think, you know, the mornings are great because it's before anyone has demanded your time, right? Like, it's before people at work are calling you, buzzing you for help. It's when everything is a lot more quiet, your notifications are probably a lot more quiet. There's less external factors that are going to distract you. So yeah, that's why I would say, you know, implement these things in the morning. Also, I think, you know, as I said earlier, the way that you start your mornings at the first 1-2 hours, I think really does kind of set up the day for you. Like, you know, when you wake up in a bad mood or something bad happens in the morning, usually it kind of affects how you feel during the day. Obviously, you don't want to try to let it affect your whole day, but sometimes naturally we can just be put in a bad mood and it kind of carries through the day. So I think being able to set yourself up for success in the morning, put yourself in a good mood, you know, do your gratitude, read some really freaking motivating books, you know, write things down, journal your thoughts. I think it's a game changer. It's honestly going to transform your life. So I really do hope that these tips have helped you, because they really have helped me. Also, if you are wanting to add the nice hot chocolate into your morning routine, it's pretty much just protein hot chocolate. Like, it's such an easy way to hit your proteins, get a protein source in early in the morning whilst making it taste really nice. So it's like a win-win. I would definitely recommend the Blessed Milk Chocolate, chocolate milk. It's honestly so good, and I don't say this lightly. Like, I am a foodie, so if I'm gonna say anything, I'm gonna, like, this is my pride on the line. Like, I'm not gonna say or recommend anything that's not good, but this is really good. It is only available in the US right now, so unfortunate to everyone else, but US girls, go and get yourself a tub. And then everyone else, obviously international wise, it is available in January, so new year, new protein flavor. Go grab your hands on that and give it a try. You honestly just have to mix it with like warm water, hot water, warm hot chocolate, hot chocolate. You want hot water, that's what I'm trying to say. And you can always add a dash of almond milk as well, just to make it a little creamier. But yeah, honestly, love it so much. So definitely add that into your morning routine alongside your coffee. You can sit down with like your coffee and your hot chocolate, you know, 2 in 1. Anyways, I hope that this video was helpful, and if it was, let me know in the comments section below what tips you have found really helpful, what tips perhaps you have that you have found really helped you when you were mentally in a rut, or perhaps it just helped you start the day off better. I'm sure that could really help someone else out there as well. And other than that, have a lovely rest of your night or day wherever you are in the world. Make sure to give this video a like and subscribe, it really does help me, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video. And also, if you haven't connected with me over on Instagram, that's cz.fit. Would absolutely love to have you over there in the Instagram family, but I guess, you know, the YouTube family is still always the best one. But anyways, I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Bye.